Hello yogis, thank you for joining me today for this practice to relieve stress and tension. We know that a lot of us carry stress in our shoulders and in our hips, so we're going to make sure that we really stretch those areas out. We're going to do some nice relieving twists and heart openers, and hopefully you'll feel really good after this little bit. Go ahead and come seated onto your mat in a nice, easy, cross-legged pose. Whichever leg typically comes in front for you, notice that, and then see if you can just switch it so the other leg is in front. Just allowing the hips to begin to ground down, feeling the crown of the head lift toward the sky. Just allowing your hands to rest right at the legs or at the heart. Just begin to soften your gaze. Begin to really tune in to your breath, just paying attention to it. Just allowing that awareness of the breath to the movement that we're about to do. Bring everything together. Start by just reaching those hands out to the sides, longest finger touching. And then flip those palms up. On the inhale, reach the fingertips to the sky. Good, lengthening all the way out through the shoulders, through the elbows. On the exhale, float the fingers down, tuck the chin down into the chest. Inhaling, gently flipping the palms, taking the gaze up again. Continuing just like that, linking those inhales and exhales together. Good, let's do one more. Beautiful. On this next exhale, let's twist the body all the way to the left, bringing that left arm across the body, linking it onto the knee, taking the gaze all the way back over that back shoulder. Good, release to the center, nice and slow. Exhale, float to the other side, reaching that arm across again and linking it over the leg. Take the gaze all the way back. Good, just a couple more each side. Release those hands back through the center. Let those fingertips tap. Exhale, twist. Good, one more each way. Beautifully done. Exhale the hands down. We're going to take that left leg out. Keep the right leg tucked in. Sit up nice and tall. We're going to work on the hips now. Spreading those fingers wide on the left hand. Inhale, reach the right arm up overhead. Get a nice side body stretch. Feeling that stretch start to come into the hips, the inner and outer thigh. Beautiful. Making sure the rib cage is open toward the front of the room and that top right rib cage is reaching up to the sky. Good. On the inhale, start to float that hand up and back. We're going to begin to use that as support as we press the hips to the sky. Reaching the left arm up overhead. Nice deep breaths in. Good. Exhale, start to float down. Come right back into that little side stretch. Flexing or pointing that toe just to make sure the stretch stays in the hip. Good. Inhale, begin to lift. Beautifully done. Exhale down. Now a few more in each position, just moving a tiny bit quicker, just with the pace of your breath. On the inhale, sweeping, moving. On the exhale, transitioning through. Good. Nice job, guys. Let's do one more each way. Beautiful work. As your hips settle back down, go ahead and just swap the legs out. Take that opposite foot out and the other one comes in. Sit up nice and tall. We're going to start with those slow, more static stretches. So stay right here. Just kind of settle into that stretch. Feel the rib cage on that left side open as you reach the fingertips up. Keep a nice open chest, chin lifted away from those chests. Good. Nice deep breath in, prepare to move. Beautiful. Sweep that top arm up and back. Let it come back behind you for support as you inhale and lift. Good. Exhale, float down. Flexing or pointing that bottom toe. Here we go. If it feels okay on the neck, maybe taking that gaze up. So good. You guys, last little slow hold. Beautiful. Now linking that breath with movement a little bit more quickly. Noticing your transitions, just noticing that float through the middle is just as important as reaching the actual stretch. Good. We know that as tension builds up in our hips, that can actually affect our emotions and vice versa. Once we feel stressed or anxious, the hips can become tight. So linking that breath with movement, that awareness with the body can be so powerful. Good, let's do one more each way. Beautifully done. Bring the hips back down to the mat. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Sitting in that little bound butterfly pose. Sit up nice and tall. Lifting the crown of the head. Pull the heels in toward the hips. And then just begin to walk the fingertips forward, keeping that spine nice and long. Fingertips reaching. Knees gently pressing to the sides. Good, take another deep breath. See if you can sink into the pose even more on that exhale. Nicely done. Walk the fingers back in. Gently fold those knees back together. And on the exhale, releasing all of that breath out of the lungs. Good job, guys. Let's come down onto our hands and knees, coming into tabletop position. So we're either going to have a nice flat palm, or if the wrists don't like that as much, you can come into fists. Just lay the back of the feet down on the mat. We're going to pull the belly button in and just begin with a little rounding in the back. So letting this stretch kind of initiate from that mid-belly, mid-spine, rounding and pulling in the belly button as the crown of the head drops down. Beautiful. Release the belly through center. Start to arch that back up, just moving through those powerful cat-cow stretches. Good. Allowing that, again, to initiate right from that mid-back and the belly button. Nice and slow, taking the gaze all the way down and all the way up, stimulating our lymphatic gland as we take that gaze all the way up. Feeling that nice opening through the heart. power and heat with that breath. Good, let's do one more each way. Beautiful job, guys. Come back to that neutral spine. Now we're gonna wag our tails, just like a little puppy dog. So kind of take those legs over to the left. Take the gaze over that same direction. Lean back a little bit. Now we're working on that side to side flexion in the spine. So getting that low back really nice and loosened up. Good. Release through the center. Bring those feet to the other side. Beautifully done. Just moving at the pace that feels good to you today, the pace of your own breath, linking it to your movements. Just being intentional, releasing stress from where it may have built up in your body, releasing tension from sore muscles. Good, let's do one more each way. Done. Come back to center. We're going to kind of put all of those movements together. Spread the hands a little bit wider and the knees out a little bit wider than tabletop. We're going to do a couple circles here. So just circle those hips all the way down to the mat. Inhale, bring them forward. Exhale, circle back. So kind of helping the hips find that full range of motion. Good work. Let's do one more this direction. Beautiful. Go ahead and pause at the top. Let's take those hips the opposite way. Sinking them down by the heels and then raising them right back up. Don't forget that breath, that ujjayi breath, in and out through the nose. If you ever need a little bit deeper breath of air, you can breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Otherwise, we like that warming breath in and out through the nose to really cultivate concentration on our practice. Good, give me one more big circle around. Beautiful job, you guys. Bring those knees in toward each other. Fold yourself back all the way into child's pose. Reaching the fingertips out, nice long straight elbows, forehead can come down to the mat. We know that child's pose is incredibly grounding and feels very good when you're trying to kind of calm some anxiety. See if you can allow the hips to settle back onto the heels a little bit more, reach through the fingertips even more. Just feeling that gentle compression of the bottom of the rib cage on top of the quads. Even though we're in a restful pose, the arms are still active with nice, strong, straight elbows. Good work. Take another breath here. And then begin to just walk those fingers forward as the hips kind of rise up into the air. We're just going to keep reaching until those hips are kind of pointed straight up, fingertips reaching out. And then either the chin or the nose comes down onto the mat in puppy pose, similar to child's pose, but the hips are lifted. We get a nice stretch for those underarms. Good, just continue that breath. Beautiful, take one more inhale here. And then gently begin to reach those hips back up, lifting the elbows away from the mat. That stretch also feels really good. Just on the edge of a countertop, you can just kind of hang on and dip your chest lower than your hands and you'll get that nice stretch too. From here, let's spread the fingers wide, tuck the toes, For the first time today, lifting the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath here. Feeling those shoulder blades open, feeling the heels reach down toward the mat. Beautiful. On the next breath in, let's take that right foot to the sky. Nice and pointed toe. You can open the hip, take it all the way to the side. And then start to reach the chest forward. Belly pulls in as you bring that right knee all the way in and to the outside of that right hand. Nice deep breath in here as we come into lizard pose. Again, thinking about opening those hips. Beautiful. Deep breath in. Keep the chest lifted for this first breath or two. Again, just inviting the breath to open the hips, pressing back through the heel, lifting through the chest, feeling the hip flexor on that left side really open as well. Beautiful job. If it feels good, you can walk down to one or both forearms right here. As you start to feel the opening in the hips, maybe you start to turn the chest toward that lifted knee. Feeling the little twist in the mid-back, maybe into the low back. And if it would feel good, continue by stretching the shoulder, bringing that right arm all the way up to the sky. Opening the chest, reaching and breathing. Good, take one more breath in. Exhale, start to just sweep that hand down to the mat. Back knee can come down. And then just begin to heel toe that front foot back to center. We're gonna peel the toes off the mat and keep straightening the spine as we lean forward. Just feel those hips in nice alignment, nice flex through the toes. Take a deep inhale, keep lengthening the spine, and then maybe we fold down a little bit right here. Continuing that warming breath. Good work, guys. Gently, gently coming back into that nice low lunge. Peel the back knee off the mat. And then just spread the fingers wide, anchor yourself here as you begin to sweep that foot all the way up and back, just the way it came. And exhale, float it down. Good work. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Just begin to notice those differences between the right and left side bodies. And let's do our best to even them out now. So take that right, or this time the left foot to the sky. Inhale, reach all the way up. Opening the hip as much as it feels good. On the exhale, start to bring the chest forward. Reach those toes all the way to the outside of that same side. Hands sit up nice and tall with the chest. Again, just kind of noticing those natural variations from side to side. We know that on a daily basis, each side can be different. One can be tight and the other more open. And especially after a particular workout, we can notice more soreness on one side. Good work. After you've taken a few breaths in this upright position, feel free to come down to one or both forearms. Good work. Continuing to breathe into this powerful lizard pose. Beginning to think about if it would feel good, you can lift up that left arm. The one on the same side as that lifted knee. The knee can even start to turn to the side as you lift the shoulder, lift the arm. Good, take one more breath. Begin to ease yourself out. Let's heel toe that front foot right in the middle of those hands. Bring the back knee down if it's not already there and just straighten out the leg. Peel the toes off the mat, square the hips. Nice deep breath in as then you forward fold. ease out of it. Let's bring the hips forward. Place the hands down on either side, and then sweep that left foot all the way back up to the sky, right where it came from. And exhale, start to float it down. Good work, you guys. We're just gonna walk those little feet up toward the hands until we're finding ourselves in a nice forward fold. Good, I'm just gonna turn to face you. Go ahead and forward fold all the way down, just allowing your hand and elbow to meet on the opposite side. And then just, if it feels good, add a little sway side to side. So as we come over to that right side, maybe we find ourselves with a little bent knee, and same on the left. Completely releasing the head and the neck down. Back through the center. We're going to just interlace our fingers behind the head. And find yourself with the thumbs down near the base of the skull. From here, we're going to use the hands as support as we start to inhale with a nice flat back, standing all the way up. Good work. Take a deep breath in, feel the chest open more, and then begin to use the weight of the head to drop back, hips press forward just ever so gently. Beautiful, releasing back up to the center. Let's take that left elbow down. Just let it drop to the side as you keep reaching the right elbow up. Good. If it feels okay, take the gaze up to meet that right elbow. Feel an amazing side body stretch here. Take the gaze back to center. Inhale, start to roll back up. Good. Nice deep breath in, preparing for that same thing on the other side. Let's take it over. If it feels okay, take the gaze all the way up, following that opposite elbow. Good work, guys. Take the gaze back to center. Inhale with control, coming back up. Good job, guys. One more little back bend. Leaning the head into the hands, opening the heart, opening the elbows back. Beautifully done. Come back to center. We're going to release those hands down to the sides. Exhale, float them all the way down. Nice job, guys. Give yourself a little bit of space between those feet, just slightly wider than hip distance apart. Open the palms wide and take the hands all the way back behind you. So here's where we're going to see if those fingers want to interlace, or you can grab opposite hand to elbow. If you have trouble doing that, you can even pause and grab a sock, because this is a really good stretch that I don't want you to miss, and there's a variation for everyone. So begin to just roll those shoulders back. Find connection between the hands somehow. Start to open the chest, lifting through that inhale, releasing the hands away from the back body. And then just start to tip forward, hinging right at those hip creases. We're gonna allow the head to drop all the way down as those hands begin to come away from the body. So this is a stretch that's mostly about the shoulders and the chest. So if you feel that you need to bend those knees a little bit to sort of take any distraction out of the hamstrings, that's totally cool. Just allow yourself to breathe into this pose right here. Good, take one more breath. We're going to start to come up, one vertebrae at a time, rolling bit by bit, with the chin tucked into the chest. Let's release those hands all the way up overhead. We're going to give ourselves a slightly wider stance now. Keep the chest really open, and then we're just going to draw a little circle, coming all the way down and around. Again, this kind of dynamic circular movement feels really good in the waistline and the hips. Good, give it one more circle this way. Beautiful. Once you reach the top, let's reverse it. Good. Let's do one more. Awesome. Come all the way up to standing. You find yourself in this nice wide-legged pose. We're going to stay right here, toes facing forward, heels back. Bring your hands back behind your body. So either letting those hands interlace or grabbing opposite hand to elbows. Start with that nice chest opening. Good. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, begin to hinge forward again. This time we're going to get a little bit deeper into both the shoulders and the hips. As we start to fold forward, letting the hands come away from the back body. Just hold right here. Continuing whatever kind of active breath you have. Beautifully done, you guys. Take one more breath. Stay for that exhale. And then when it feels right, begin to roll yourself up. Slow and steady. One vertebrae at a time. Until you find yourself all the way back up. Heel toe the feet together and then release the hands. Give yourself a big hug. Just reaching one elbow on top, one on the bottom. Take the gaze up. And then release those arms. Thumbs point to the back. Same thing on the other side. Just reaching that opposite arm on top. Inhale up. As I know, I'm always joined by all my crazy bird friends out here. They're always so loud. Exhale, float the hands down. Good job. We're going to make our way back down to our mats for a few more little stretches just to make sure the shoulders and chest are really open. So come into that easy cross-legged pose just like we started with. And then we're going to switch again, bringing that non-dominant leg on top or in front. Now, whichever leg just came over as the non-dominant one, I want you to start with that one on top. We're just going to begin by stacking the legs. So even if this is as much as we stack, which is foot to knee, that's totally cool. We'll start there. If you can, though, I want you to start moving the feet away from each other so that the knees maybe, just maybe, stack or they come close. So either way, we want those feet to stay flexed. So even if your legs look more like this and they're kind of stacked in fire log pose, that's totally fine. We're going to start to pull that belly button in and just sort of sit with the hips like this for just a moment. Allowing ourselves to kind of settle into this. And then when we're ready, we're going to add the arms. Take those arms out to the sides. We're going to sweep that left arm underneath the right. Let those elbows come together. Let the hands wrap all the way back around. Inhale, lift the elbows away from the body. Nice deep breath in. Feel that amazing stretch in the upper back. And then exhale, start to tip forward, letting the elbows and the knees meet. If they get close, I want you to see if you can bring the elbows over top of the knees. So bringing them right out in front. Yes. Feeling that stretch in the psoas and in the sciatic nerve. Back in those hips, good. Beautifully done, you guys. Give it one more deep breath in. Good, we're gonna come out just the way we came in. Begin to lift those arms all the way to the sky. Exhale, release them down and unwind. Good work. Go ahead and just heel toe those feet back into that easy cross-legged pose. Sit up nice and tall. Awesome work. Let's take that opposite leg on top. So remember, even if we stay stacked in this fire log pose. And if you've got space between the knee and the foot, no worries. We can add a pillow, a block, or a bolster right there to even increase the stretch a little bit, and the space isn't an issue. Good, so just begin by separating those feet away from each other as much as they want to or can come. And then see if you can push those feet forward a little bit too, so that the legs are kind of in one long line. Good, sit up nice and tall. Just kind of getting that breath flowing right here into the hips. Deep breaths in, nice full complete exhales out. When you're ready, reach the arms long. Let's take that right arm underneath the left, stack the elbows, reach those arms all the way back around. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, start to fold down. Good. If the elbows and the knees easily meet, see if you can bring the elbows just in front of those knees. Beautiful work, guys. Begin to release out of the pose just the way we came in. Lift up those arms. Unwinding. Float them down. Good job. Bring those feet back into that easy cross-legged pose. Give yourself a few circles right here. Just feeling the spine continuing to open. Hopefully it feels much more open and better than when you started your practice. Go ahead and reverse it. Take it the other way. Beautiful. From here, I'm just going to come long ways on my mat again. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Give yourself a little bit of space behind you. So we're find ourselves back in this bound butterfly pose. Take a deep breath in, and then just begin to lean back, taking one forearm back at a time. If you notice that if at any point this doesn't feel good in your body, you can always bring the knees back up. Easing ourselves down. Once it feels good, you can come all the way down onto the back side of the body and just open those palms to the sides. Feeling the soles of the feet really squeeze together. Mentioned at the beginning of our class that the hips and the shoulders can tend to hold a lot of tension, a lot of stress for us. So now in this nice open hip posture, shoulders are stretched and feeling good. Hopefully you can just enjoy a few moments of your work. Just feeling everything sort of open back up for you. Take a few more deep belly breaths here, or feel free to stay as long as it serves you well. Good job. Otherwise, begin to straighten the legs, reach the arms up overhead. Take a nice big full body stretch, and then carefully using the strength of your arms and your abs, let's roll to your side and press yourself up to a comfy seated position. Maybe the one that you began in. Just letting your hands rest either on your legs or at your heart. Taking a few deep cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more just like that. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope your hips and your shoulders feel more open. I hope you were able to just work out some of that stress and tension that might have accumulated in your body. And I hope to see you next time. Namaste.